Pleased to be checking back in with Paul Gorman, president of the South Shore YMCA, for kind of a status report on how things are going. Nice to see you again, Paul.
Good to see you, Joe. Thank you. I just before we got on, you were talking about QATV and your length of time at QATV, which is about 12 years, which is I'm in my 12th year here at the Y as well. So started about the same time.
And my the last year has been certainly the most challenging.
Oh, it really has. It really has. If there are some businesses that are doing well, but for like business for organizations like us, and for everyone, I think it affects folks personally, if not professionally. For us, it's kind of affected us personally and professionally, I think.
Well, you're such a people-oriented organization to begin with. How could it not have a severe impact for sure? Yeah.
Yeah. This is our organization about bringing lots of folks together, and during this time, that's the complete opposite of what we should be doing.
It's so true. But even last time we talked, it's been a little while now, but you were still just remarkably, I thought, upbeat and optimistic about the future. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, it's obviously that we're only in reaction mode. It's very hard to be proactive when you don't know what's going to happen with the virus. If it continues, the variants kind of slow things down, and how the vaccine is taken, the speed of which it's taken, the percentage of folks taking it, how it affects everything. So it's like we're poised and ready to react to anything. And once we get to a point, we'll be back in our proactive mode.
Have you been able to bring any staff back at all that you had to let go?
Yeah, we've kind of leveled off based on the leveling off of activity. I think I might have mentioned the last time we had almost 1,900 to 1,000 folks, and I want people realize that of those folks, most of them are part-time. That's kind of our model. We have a lot of part-time lifeguards and babysitters and people at the front desk, so there's a lot of part-time. So when we had to lay off folks, it was definitely a loss to us, and I know it was a loss to them. But for most of those folks, it didn't affect, they weren't the main breadwinner in their homes, although I'm sure it was very important to them. And I'm not making light of that. But we try to keep most of the full-time staff, although there were some adjustments there. Right now, we have about 325 folks working for us. And again, that's just based on the activities in our Ys, where our membership is at about 40% of what it was at our height. Our childcare is about 40%. Programs are probably a little bit less, about 30%. We got some good news this week that we're going to be able to run resident camp, and we did run day camps last year, with some restrictions. So we don't know what all the restrictions will be. Hopefully, there won't be a lot by that time, because those are important programs, not only for us as an organization, but for all the families we serve. I'm sure anyone that has kids are ready to throw those kids right out for a full day or overnight, to get them out of the house. They've seen too much of them. So we want to help them with that.
Sure, and help parents too, to help be able to get back to work, hopefully, right?
Yes.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see how behaviors and habits have changed, both for health and wellness, coming in and working out with groups of people. I think people still need, even though a lot of people purchase machines and at home or exercise outside, they still want to be around people and talk to people. We have about a third of the equipment that we once had in our health and wellness center, so it's naturally spread out. So that's another safety feature that we've put into place, and certainly we're experts at cleaning right now. Seeing how many folks feel comfortable about coming back on a more permanent basis. Childcare, how many people now always work from home. There'll be a percentage that never go back to an office setting.
Yeah.
They may not need childcare, although, again, I want to put childcare in quotations, but because childcare for us is early learning. This is preparing these children for kindergarten and school. This is not just babysitters watching kids all day. They have curriculum, activities. We feed them on top of it all. So it's not about babysitting childcare. This is about early learning.
Oh yeah, I think it's been proven now that in-person contact, especially at that age, is crucial and cannot be replaced by anything virtually. They get much more than just the 3 hours, if you will. It's all about socialization, right, and connection.
Right, and there's team building that goes on. There's conflict resolution that goes on, even at the preschool level.
Yes.
That they start to learn that. Hopefully we can get back to the point where we were before.
Yeah, I know we talked before we went on this morning that it's all about comfort level. You could open up the doors, wide open and let everybody in, but if people don't feel comfortable, then they're not going to come. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. As I mentioned, we're at 40% of our membership that are paying to stay members, but of that, only about half of them are using the Y.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, where we were before COVID-19, only 20% of the people, are using the YMCA. We do have, a few bright spots within that. Not surprisingly, you can see a lot of younger folks in because they feel safe. Very surprisingly, we have a lot of older folks coming in that they feel it's very important for them to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And not to feel isolated and to socialize, but keeping that strength up to fight potentially the virus.
Yeah.
Our partnership program for folks with physical disabilities, most of them are in wheelchair, that would be at a higher risk. They are coming back again to get stronger and not to feel isolated. We have an interesting swimming program that it's the YMCA Powers Aquatics program, and for children 6 months to 5 years old, we have over 1,700 kids. That's more than double our original aquatics program in 2019.
Wow.
So, and a lot of those are first-time parents, so they feel very comfortable about coming in with their babies and utilizing this program. And then, of course, as you slide down to our Emerson branch in Hanover, we have a large tennis program. And when you think about a good social distance program, it's tennis. You're on either side of the court, and so that's we see a lot more folks trying to take up and learning tennis as well.
Yeah. What do you attribute the big increase in the swimming program to, Paul? That's interesting.
So, we've partnered with the person that kind of developed this swim program, and she really built the program, and she communicates really well. She built the program. She understands. She's a mom of 4 children. She understands what parents are looking for, getting their kids water safe. And it's just been, it's been one of those built on social media. Certainly you have to have a quality program, but the word has gotten out, and it's been all on social media. So
it's great to hear, especially where we are a seafaring community.
Yes. Yeah.
And here in Hanover as well. I'm not surprised, actually, that some of the older folks are anxious to get back. I've talked to some of them over the past year or so, and they are stalwart, New Englanders. They've lived through a world war. Some of them through the Depression. So their feeling is, we can take anything on.
Yeah. No, and they are, when they come in, they are vibrant. They want to be there. They want to, like I said, socialize safely, but they're pretty focused of getting their workouts in and staying healthy.
That's great. Good to hear. How did the virtual Frozen 5K road race go?
Good, good. I think we had over 100 competitors, which is great for, a first-time virtual race. Patrick Murphy, and his team did a great job in putting that together this year, and kind of follows a lot of the trends of all the virtual events, even our virtual special events like the Taste. It's, you probably have about, 25% of the folks that you used to have, or a third of the folks. You can see that not just with our organization, but other organizations as well. But trying to keep the continuity out there of programs and give some folks something to shoot for, this time.
Sure. And, maybe some folks that might not have participated in the past can that way as well.
Yeah, yeah.
How are the WISE finances holding up, Paul?
Well, that can be a different story. We're a large Y, and when you have a large Y like ours, a lot of fixed costs. So even though we did pare down our staffing levels, we reduced some of our leases, outside leases. We have renegotiated contracts. There's still a fixed cost in order to run the WISE, whether you have 1,000 people coming a week, 100 people coming a week, you still have to have a certain amount of folks. So, we have, I think at the beginning of the pandemic, we were losing the first couple of months, $500,000 to $700,000 a month.
Wow.
It's dropped down a little bit. Just looking at coming out of into 2021, we're going to average, at least a couple $100,000 loss each month. So it's significant. One of the things right now, we were able to apply for some of the government stimulus now, but we were on the borderline of some of the criteria for forgiveness. So if that's forgiven, then we'll lose a few less $1 million. If that's not, it'll turn into a loan that we're to pay back.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other stimulus programs that we're applying for now, so which could reduce our losses. If not, it's in the millions.
Yeah.
And that's with all the reductions that we have. So we try to be very conservative and prudent with our expenses, and we're still losing millions of dollars. But our hope at the end of it, with what was put in place last year by the federal government, what was initiated, another stimulus package was December 27th, and the new one coming out, that we could get to the point where we would only lose maybe a couple $1 million out of this. But it could be $8+ million, which is, again, significant, and tap into our endowments. Not that big, but it would cut into that, and kick a lot of things that we want to do down the road a bit. But
yeah, I know we talked about this before, that it was kind of a good thing that you got the new Quincy Y done when you did.
Oh yeah, that gave us that doubled our membership here in Quincy. So that even going down to 40%, that helps offset some of those fixed costs. And one of the bright spots this past year, I'm not sure it's been with other organizations, but our development team with Mary Orn and Kathy Quigley and John Galuzzo, we surpassed our fundraising goal that we had set pre-COVID-19.
Wow.
By 25%. That through the generosity of our donors giving a little bit more, the businesses understanding that and giving a little bit more, and taking advantage of some of the foundations and COVID-19 funds that were set up that we applied for and were able to receive. A lot of that went to supporting our food pantry down in Germantown and food delivery, our homeless shelter that we'd set up with Father Bill's, and then our emergency childcare. Even with the 40% of our member status members right now, we see an increase in requests for financial assistance, because that's always available for folks.
Right.
So, we don't want folks, if they have had a temporary loss of their jobs or downsizing or, a reduction in their salary, they should come in. If they want to come to the Y, that's why we have our financial assistance program out there for folks.
Yeah, and I just think it's so important to point out that, when we're talking about finances, any success story that you have is a success story for the community, because it all goes right back into the community.
It does. Everything that we receive or fundraise for goes to support families in the community. Again, whether it's over Germantown or our YMCA's, or we had started 2 years ago a capital campaign to expand Quincy and expand down in Hanover and some of our day camps, which is really necessary. We put all that on hold, and we'll see what the trends are when folks come back. Is what we were planning, is that still relevant, or do we have to tweak that?
Right. Which leads me to the Day of Giving. I have my T-shirt from last year, actually.
Right.
Still, but it is March 2nd, 2021. What is it?
Yeah, so it is a Day of Giving at the Y. It's to support us in our efforts. As I mentioned, our current monthly losses and some of the activities that we continue no matter what out there, is to the one way to help us is to give for those folks who can give. We have a lot of members that have said they're not comfortable about coming back, so they make their membership a monthly donation to the Y. And for those folks that are here at the Y, they see what's needed, so they donate. And this is just to educate folks about that. And again, this is about supporting really a community center for the communities that we serve, and giving back. And so if folks are so inclined and are capable of, we'd love to have them donate to the Y. It is an important part for us. In the past, we raised, like last year, we probably raised almost $3.5 million for our annual fund, which is the most we've ever raised. And, we would love to get to that point, but there are a lot of the foundations that aren't given to support organizations like they did because of the shutdown of COVID-19. And hopefully create a habit for folks of giving, to the Y each year. So, and I hopefully people feel like we're good stewards of their donations, that they can see exactly what we do for folks in the community.
Sure. Will the Ys be involved in the vaccine rollout in any way at all, Paul?
That was interesting that we did get contacted by one of the hospitals in Boston to see if we'd be willing to be a site in both in Quincy and Hanover. The only reluctance that I had is we're involved in health and wellness, but not in that respect. And we've worked so hard to create protocols and safety and cleaning, and the people coming feel safe, and to introduce hundreds of people a day, thousands of people a week inside of our buildings to get a vaccine. Not quite sure.
Yep.
Some of those people might be infected, and we just feel like there are better venues than a YMCA, which is the folks that are come in are healthy, and we want to keep them. We'll support however we can, but we just didn't feel like we were the right place. The big venues that you see are with Fenway Park or Gillette. There's no fans, there's nothing else going on. The other, where there's some community designated areas or CVS or Walgreens, they look like they're doing a good job, but they're set up. They normally give out flu shots every year. And when people are sick, they go to the pharmacy there. So they're going in sick to the pharmacy. So there's that people expect that. they don't expect that in our YMCA. So that was just our decision to keep, our folks healthy and safe, the members that come in and our staff, and hopefully anyone thinking about coming back to the Y, that they understand that.
Sure. No, absolutely. I was just curious, and I'm not surprised that you had been contacted. Being a community service organization, but you're, like you say, you're serving the community in a different way. Are you still doing online programs at all?
Yeah. So we actually have upgraded as well.
Oh.
Called the South Shore Virtual Y, and it's right on our website. You click in. And we've one of our group exercise studios, or a couple of them, we turned into filming studios
Yep.
as well. So you can opt into a number of programs that are there that have already been taped, or we are rolling out a number of live ones. So for folks that are used to, taking a class Monday at 9:00, some of those will be live, so you can see the favorite instructor.
Yep.
And then we want to expand it to other areas for family activities and wherever we can. So it's just not around health and wellness, but some of the other activities as well. We've some of our medical wellness programs are also on the virtual Y. So.
Yep. Do you think that will continue kind of post-pandemic, the virtual stuff?
Yeah, I think so. And, I think it'll always be a part of what we do, and whether it's, people themselves, if they're a member, they don't want to miss class, but they're not feeling great, they don't want to come to the Y, or the weather's terrible, they don't want to go out. Hey, I'll just pop on the virtual Y, and now gives them access to those activities out there.
Sure. I'm sure you've talked about, helping the young kids kind of make up for lost time that they haven't been in classrooms, and ways that the Y can facilitate that. Yeah.
So we do have some remote learning
Okay.
centers around the South Shore, Germantown and Quincy and down throughout, but it's a moving target, because there's all the school systems go remote to hybrid to in to out, depending on what's going on. So it's a challenge to find staff that are that flexible as well as, and to keep up the numbers, because that's all regulated of a teacher to kids in remote learning a ratio. So we have to make sure we're in the right ratio. So it gets a little complicated. So it's been a little bit of a challenge. But our Vice President of Youth Development, Christine Swan's done a great job of navigating that.
Sure. Well, so, you certainly haven't backed down. Right from the onset, you opened your Y up as a shelter for the homeless. I don't know how many millions of meals you've distributed by now. I am sure. And going forward, you'll continue to do that, I'm sure. Yeah.
We're some of the things that are just part of our core program and core focus of our Ys, but others are, if something's needed. As you know, when everything was shut down, the mayor gave us a call to help with some of the homeless folks with Father Bills. We said yes right away. So we have that great relationship with the city of Quincy, that if there is a need and it looks like we fit, we're ready to step up.
Sure. Anything else I'd like to share with folks right now, Paul?
No, it's we're all in a waiting game, patience, and I just want to let everybody know that from our side, we have been very successful over this now just about a year through really the thick of it for all the activities. We've been open some way, shape, or form through the whole year, of people in our care, keeping them safe and healthy, and whenever people are ready to come back, we're ready to help in any way.
SSYMCA.org, I know, is your website. 479-8500.
Correct. Yep.
Just for memory, I know you're all over social media as well, right?
Yep. Our Vice President Lauren is doing a great job with that, staying on top of it. And, for all of our folks here, with kind of rollbacks, everybody's doing 2 or 3 jobs now. just not one job anymore.
Sure. Yeah. And don't forget the Day of Giving, right? March 2nd, and hashtag Day of Giving.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Sure. I hope next time, Paul, we can do this in person.
Yeah.
I keep saying that, but I know when that day will come, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Be well.
You too. Bye now, Joe.